Oh, the other day somebody had told me to speak up. They couldn't hear me, and they were from English isn't the first language and whatnot. And I know with my mom's, I was talking super quiet. I feel like I got black under my eyes. I put a lot of oil under my eyes when I get up. Um, so she had said for me to speak up, and it was at my mom's, and I was talking quiet, and then this big air conditioner thing was above me, but I was talking quiet because I always think if I say something and someone catches a part of it, they're not going to know the whole thing. And so then they're going to think I'm saying something, but they're not going to understand really what I'm saying. It's going to be out of context. So I was trying to talk quiet because I didn't want her to think, when I'm talking to y'all will know more what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the rapture, the hypocrisy behind religion, and more and more people have to become aware of it, but also how hard it is for the people who are in that trap to find their way out of it. They just keep folding back in on themselves. It's crazy. But anyways, I just was talking quiet, but if I'm talking quiet all the time, just tell me, and I'll try and speak up. I know a lot of people get like those whatever those things are called, microphones. Some people get these microphones and put them in their ears and stuff. Like, I don't know all that stuff. To me, I just sit here with my phone right close to my face and talk. But if it's not loud enough, but if you can't hear and you are having a problem, there is settings that you can go into, and you can have there be caption. And I'm pretty sure you can put translation in the caption. And I don't know if you'd find it like on your phone or if you find it on YouTube or something, but I know that stuff is out there. But it's like those kinds of things that, I don't know, they want to prevent us from being able, it's not like they're going to just tell us all the time, all this kind of stuff. But I've heard other people say like, oh, well, I just put on the caption. So anyways, that's what I would look for. But also you can tell me and I'll get fancier. I guess I'll get a microphone or something. But I'm sure my voice is kind of hard. It's kind of a scratchy. So weird too how they made a voice, a fake voice that people use all the time on TikTok. And when I hear it, I always think it sounds like me. I was like, that's so strange to make a TikTok voiceover. There's a scratchy voice, and so many people use it. Like, so many people, I think, don't like their voice. And, I'll just say this real quick, too, because I thought this was kind of, all these things that I did when I was a kid, it makes, I look at it different now. A lot of things differently, like, as you go past it, right? But it seems like I was around a teenager kind of time, or maybe my early adulthood, but I didn't like my voice. And it seemed like it was like higher pitched or something. And so I would consciously talk lower. I would consciously lower it instead of talking real up. So I did that consciously. So I would think, if somebody doesn't like their voice, you can change it like that. It's just becoming conscious of something. Everything is about the conscious awareness. And, there's something I want to talk about, this show that I've been watching, but there's some other stuff I want to say first. As I went on TikTok, and I still can't get through very many videos, but there was some stuff I wanted to comment about. People keep on going on and on about the girl on the plane. There's all these people who were on the plane now speaking out. And this one girl was getting so mad because in the comments, everybody's like, she's a crisis actress. And so the person is like, where's the crisis? Having a big fit. But they don't understand that they're creating crises too. So, and I don't know, this girl could be MK Ultra. That guy could be her handler. I mean, there's no way that any of us can know any of this stuff, because there's a whole hidden storyline that is in it surrounds us, like the ice wall surrounds us. It contains us, but there's a storyline that surrounds us and contains us. And it is out of our, it is like the story of the habitat or something. What is, man, all these things I just go off on it just so let me, because there was these other things I wanted to say first. But, so anyways, so the story, so we have this, another story beyond our own story. I'll talk more about that with the, what I want to talk about with this show. But it's strange because, when something gets so much attention and so many people are talking about it, and so many people on the plane have said that the guy sitting next to her, she was talking like they were having a conversation, but the guy never spoke. And so he was probably talking with telepathy or something. See, that's the thing that what people don't get too, is like our state of consciousness and the realms and the realities and stuff. And it's like where you focus. And I don't know how else to say that except for that's the only way that I know how to say how they showed me. Like it's literally where you focus is where your reality is. And so, her sitting next to this guy and being like, it could be in another vibration, like, and be separate from the people on the plane. Just like how I was saying, like, when my son-in-law was here, or when I was at my daughter's or whatever. So where you're at, you can be in your own space bubble time thing with everybody else going around on theirs, but it's where you're focused. And so that woman on the thing, who's having this conversation, it could be so many different things, what it is, because, I would say the most likely thing is like, she's known to the people in control because she was, one of the victims, the victims of the Florida school one that made such a big thing where these kid activists came out of it and whatnot. And when you see the pictures of, I think it was like 2 boys and a girl that were doing some press conferences or something. When you see the girl and you do that face comparison, the people do those, then, yeah, it definitely looks like the girl grown up. She looks exactly the same. Only her hair is different. She used to have long blonde hair. Now it's like shorter and like darker. And so, but like her face features or whatever. And, there's just like right now, somebody's sharing all these Garth Brooks things off of Instagram Live or something. And he's a goddamn robot. Like, these people who don't, like, it's robotic. And they don't blink. They're just like, talk like, and say things. And it's like Disneyland, animation people or something, like on when you go to the place and they've got the hologram people. That's what these people are like. They're like the Disneyland ones, like these big smiles. I was like, I don't know how many of these people we're going to find out even real. How many of these people are computer generated? Even a concert, like they've shown, even the Pope going out and speaking in front of all those people that show up to hear him, and he was a goddamn hologram. So fuck, a concert could be too. God, I don't know. Like, there's so much weird shit. Sam Smith, like, I don't even know who the hell this guy was before, but that guy is desperate to be famous. Like, I'm so desperate. I mean, he's like, he's so cringy, man. God, that guy is cringy. Like, it was footage of his last concert. That guy is like, man, you got desperate written all over you, buddy boy. And I just, but this, I thought, this is, all these people keep going to see this movie. For one thing, the people who made the movie are billionaires who, the money is going to go back to the product. These people, it's almost like, well, you sure won't look at us because we're the one putting the movie out. So why would you think we'd do anything? Don't look at over here. Look over there. It's all it is. And it is, for one thing, it is feeding. Okay, so when you think about this energy source and our pain and our trauma feeds their energy, whatever, it's like they've got a payment thing or something, like to our trauma feeds this certain energy. And so, those movies and the timing. Oh, God, I wish people could just see or just slow down. Like, take time. Fuck, nobody does. Everybody just jumps on board. Jump on. Hurry. And it's like they're outsmarting the government. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, God, people and their ego. Ugh. This is like an ego fucking game. Like, Jesus Christ, it's something else. So, anyways, that energy, so it's super popular movie. It's about to go #1, and everybody's going out. It's the latest summertime hit, So they've made, like, I don't know, $40 billion, some insane amount of money. Going right back to the fucking people who do this shit. And then, and all the people just mad and traumatized, just, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about this? Let's get together and do something. Let's vote. Let's all vote. Okay, let's go vote together. Shit. So then, and, it draws in a certain group, right? Doesn't draw in a certain group. For sure. Probably a certain group that didn't get these. Probably. For sure. So, a girl at the AMC theater, little video, she, everybody who came into that movie was supposed to get a little extra boost in their soda. A little dose. So she refused to put it in. And keep in mind, all these things can all be made up, like, but made up just to create trauma, just to create confusion. And don't forget how our consciousness works. We make ourselves sick. So so she took one of the vials home with her to find out what it was. And I don't remember now if she looked under a microscope or she took it. Seemed like she looked under something or she took it somewhere. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. But inside was full of the nanos. And I swear to God, was that some sort of fucking thing that put together on my daughter and then tried to get out of her foot. Like, it's so strange. But so what better way, when you can't do this, just do this. Like, and these people are all just, we're the purebloods, we're the chosen, we're so smart, we're smarter than you people, you little NPCs, you just stand back because we're the smart ones, we're chosen. Arrogance and ego will get you every goddamn time. Arrogance and ego. That is, I always see that, like, is it a fable? Is that what they were called? When I was a kid, they were always telling us these moral stories. And I bet you fucking kids don't even know the Emperor's New Clothes anymore. But, about just staring into the water until you fall in. And that is what so many of these people, they're just so, they don't even stop and slow down. They don't stop and think about anything. And then, I still don't know the Caviezel thing, and him, all these pictures with the Pope and shit. Like, I don't think I've seen pictures with him with red shoes, but he know what the fucking red shoes are, 555. And so I don't know what, yeah, that is 555, but man, sometimes time just jumps. That's weird. Okay, you're back. So I still don't know about Caviezel, why some of the pictures of people he's with and stuff. But Ballard, I'm all in on Ballard. Like, I do not, like, apologize fully if you're really a good guy. But there's too much stuff on that guy and the people paying for the movie. And I don't know, it just fits. It fits that it just fits the other way. That this is, released to outraged people, to give them, like, what are we going to do? Like that one lady was saying, what, they're going to come up with a solution. They're going to get y'all to, VOTE, and then they're going to push in a direction, well, we'll track your kids for you. We'll make sure these rotten bastards don't get them. All the while, well, we're just creating them in labs over here. We got our baby making factory down this way. We got, like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. They've got technology. They just make them. And when they want to create trauma, they just sneak in the back door. And then, oh, well, one got through. And they've been creating these dramas, like these sensationalized dramas, and they've been it is wag the tail or whatever. I haven't even seen that in a long, long time, but it comes to my head. And Dustin Hoffman, and I think it is about, which it is. It is, they are the ones who are wagging the tail. We are the ones, it's like we're the tail, but they're wagging it. The tail's not wagging them, they're wagging the tail. And we are just, products of their environment. But people have to realize it and, want something different. And, people are just like, fuck, they're just so stuck. Getting outraged over them stopping to investigate the cocaine. So, they're just so mad. The fucking White House didn't get there. What in the... But see, this is the way it is. Stuff too. It's always got to be outrageous. Got to get people just so bent out of shape and angry so that we can have some reaction. So get stuff on the table. People are talking about. People are seeing. And the main thing is to see the corruption, to see the lies, all of this stuff about the double standard. They live by their rules and they expect us to live by the rules that they set for us. And then, and the rules are not fair because they look at us as we are, if they've got the money, they've got the control, and we're the peons. And they have no respect for our lives, the life of a creator. And creator is all of us. We are all creators. I know a lot of people think that there's just one separate, individual who made it all. But that isn't, it's an energy. And it is, the energy of the creation is that those of us who create. And so it is that whole thing of the coming down or it's the, man, what is that word? It's the fade out. It's the coming from the source and the fade out. And we're all the fade out. We are all if you took all of us and you went backwards, we would all condense back to the source. That is, I think, why, Dolores Cannon said that the source is what the aliens, if you want to call them that, the other beings that are more advanced than us, that are trying to help us become more advanced. Those beings, that's what they call the source. And she'd ask more questions and stuff, and they were saying this is really hard to explain. And so I may not be seeing it right. I'm only trying to translate what I'm shown or what I see. And I see like everything is like energy that expands out, and it is just a constant expansion, and it all is like this fade out. But all those that's like micro macro, everything comes from the same source. Everything is representative, no matter which direction it goes. Oh, that was really cool, because the visual on the TV is like that same kind of thing. So it is like, oh, I gotta show you this too. This is trippy. So I went in when I was in Spokane, and it was we had plans with my granddaughter, my mom, two of my granddaughters, one of my daughters, and my mom. I still was moving. And we all went out to lunch and went shopping. And we went to this thrift store. And nobody had been there. Well, my mom and I had. And but I don't think anybody else. So everybody was really having fun, because there's a lot of good stuff at this one. And their prices aren't as jacked up. It's Christian thrift. And a lot of the church thrift stores are, they're not as jacked up as like Goodwill and stuff, or all the corporation ones. But anyways, so I just looked at the yarn for a second, and I grabbed one that had these multicolor, and mine was like this and this. So I got these. And then my daughter, one of the other daughters, because I saw her on my next part of my trip, the next leg of my trip, when I got to Yakima, and she had gone to a estate sale. And so she said that she had gotten me some yarn, and so she gave it to me. And it was this and this. Like, what in the hell? What is the chances of that? Like, I thought that was so crazy. And at the same time that we're picking up the same yarn. Fuck, man. The world is so much more smaller and magical than what people really get, And we're so much more connected than what people get. I just find it so trippy. And I thought that was really cool. And yesterday I was so busy out there working, and that's another thing that keeps going into these time and spaces when you start working. And so when you have a big job to do, and it could be, you can't even say, because a sink full of dishes can be a big job to some people. And so we all have our own spectrum of what's a big job, what overwhelms us, what just is like, I don't want to do that. We all have them. And so when you go in to do them, go into them. It's a different attitude, but it isn't like go in and be like, oh, yay, I'm going to do the dishes now. It's not like that kind of attitude. It is, don't go into it as looking at it overwhelmingly. Don't look at it as the whole job. There is a thing too, and I had seen this. What was that? Because it was I don't know, maybe it was like a guru kind of person saying it. No, it was, a monk or something. There was a monk I heard say this one time. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I do. And he said, you take it on as it's one dish, and then it's just the next dish, and then it's the next dish. You don't look at the whole thing. You just start going at it. And, take breaks if you want to. Don't feel like, oh, well, I have to do that. Now I'm going to stand there for probably 20 minutes. Or, it could be another job that's way bigger. because that job I had yesterday was really overwhelmingly big to me. It was so much of this huge heavy wood. They had nails sticking out of it, the webs and fucking spiders everywhere. It was like 2 huge ones, and I was like, and I had to take the nails out of them. I had to build this little thing. I had to stack them. It was like a huge job. And then early in the job, I picked up this really huge, big gate thing. It was what we were using as the ramp. And I was trying to move it to use it for the back wall part of my wood little thing I was building. And I don't know, trying to move it, and I hit something or whatever, and I dropped it. And when I dropped it, it just hit right down my leg. It's so trippy, too, when you have a big injury happen, because you don't... I think this is the same thing as, like, when people get murdered. Is I don't think you feel, like, to us, as we sit back and we witness, or we, as we, like, absorb or relate to a story, then we think, you know, you're going to feel it differently than how you feel it. But it's, you know, well, a lot of times you get a cut and it doesn't feel like pain like that. It feels like, I gotta just leave my hair alone. It feels like, kind of like a coldness or so. I don't even know how to explain it, but it definitely didn't feel, but it felt like something was there. And so I knew something. And I've cut the side of my foot the same. Went down the whole side of my foot. I was walking past something and there was a nail or something sticking out. And so as I walked past, it just sliced the whole side of my foot like that. And I went in to get stitches. It was a lot of fucking stitches. I don't even remember how many. But it was, you know, all, and it was the same kind of just this like coldness. And then, but it was all laid open. And so that happened on this one, only went down the front of my leg, you know, so I did the little video thing. But that was kind of to show people. I didn't show the openness of the cut because it was too, it was creeping me the fuck out. It was sliced through, like you could see all of the, people always just call it meat. So when you slice it through the skin, how there's like layers of tissue and it looks meaty. And so it has sliced through all of that and was down into the next part and was kept opening more. And so it was like, oh, I can't even look. I just need to get in there and clean it. And I knew I had that medical tape, and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going in and get stitches. And it would be my driving leg. And that would be, I could drive with the other one, but to not be able to use this one at all to drive, that would be, you know, the whole thing. It was just like, there's so many things, especially like I'm out here rural, like it'd be like, I don't even know how far, 25 or 30 miles to an urgent care. And so then I just went in and washed it in the shower, and it didn't even hurt that bad doing that. I was really scared of that part even. Like putting the soap, I was being so tentative, everything I would do, the water, everything. I was like, oh, it's going to hurt like a motherfucker. And nothing was really hurting that bad. And so and then I had to keep holding it really tight to try and get it to dry. And as soon as I felt, I mean, the skin wasn't even all the way dry, and I just got the medical tape and I just put it on one side. Well, I did strips, like, because that's, I mean, when I worked in the ER, I've seen it done a bunch of times. And so then I just took only they use, you know, these more expensive strips. But after trying to do that fucking wrinkle cream shit, whatever they castor oil and the medical tape on your skin, and saw like, fuck, I rip your goddamn face off. And so I was like, oh yeah, I have that fucking tape. That would work like for like steri strips or whatever. And so just doing on one side and then pulling as tight as I could. It's not like a nice clean thing, like, because the skin's got to come back together. It's so funny too, because this is where when I was a little kid, I was out like whittling, you know, my brothers went to the ER all the time. They were always getting hurt. But I was out with this other kid, Jeffrey Offit. would always say off it. Kids are so weird. But, so, and my fingers were little and skinny, but we're sitting out in the alleyway, whittling away with these pocket knives, whittling wood or something. And then I cut, and so I almost cut my finger off the tip. It went all the way. So now my finger's a grown-up finger, and so it's like that to that. So, and my finger's like skinnier than the other one. But anyways, my parents didn't take me in to get stitches or anything. They just and just kept my finger from falling off, and just kept putting medicine on it and kept it. So anyways, I had early on, and then I also, the next time where I should have got stitches, I had, it was Thanksgiving, and I was in the middle of cooking, and I went out in the garage to do something, and I slammed my elbow into the rear view mirror. I wonder how I did that. Who fucking knows? I think that's how I did it, but I made a big cut, and I couldn't go get stitches. So it was another one I just taped up. But this one was big. This one was really big, where I was like, man, I'm going all in on this. Like, fuck that Western medicine. I'm not going in and having them do shit. And so I just did the tape. I didn't do anything else, just soap and water, did the tape. And then I came and sat and ate lunch, and I kept my foot up. And then I was like so bored, I had to get back out. And so I went back out for at some point, because I went out a few different times. I think at the one time I went out, I didn't do anything. I kept feeling like it kept pulling and stuff. It's weird how it looks and how it felt. And so then I, at some time I went and got one of those compression socks, and I put it over it to hold it real tight. And so then I was like, okay, now it won't open no matter what. And so I went out and worked for a while with it like that. And then I took it off and then came back in. Then I poured some peroxide over it. It bubbled, didn't even feel a thing. It didn't even do that many bubbles. It maybe had a tiniest bit of a burn, tiny. And then I rubbed castor oil on it. I think I rubbed some black seed oil on it too. And I swear to God, today it looks like I could take all these off. And it was like all the way down. Like it was so gross because I could see it as it was just opening. I was like, oh, fuck, how far down did this go? Like, God damn. A big heavy piece of wood falling on your fucking skinny ass ankle. Fuck it up. And so so that made me start thinking, when you go in and you get the shots and they do the lidocaine, give you all that lidocaine, and then they re-traumatize the area by poking it over and over, if that doesn't just slow down, and then they give you like antibiotics and whatnot, and I don't have any antibiotics, my body's fighting it itself, like I take care of myself, and I would go, if it was looking red or inflamed or whatever, I would go pour more peroxide. I have some antibiotic ointment too, but the castor oil, like all of these things that have these antimicrobials, all that stuff is in these natural oils and shit. And I'm going to leave it on. I'm definitely not going to take it off today, but I bet you by tomorrow I could take it off and it would stay sealed. I'll keep giving it some extra help because especially up on the one part, it was like so deep looking, but on the bottom part where it's not as much, but I would say it's like this long of a cut, and this much of it is super deep. So I bet you it would have been like, I don't know, 15 stitches. And then plus the drive, sit there, then the fucking lidocaine. And they always put this fucking, when they do that stuff and they do epinephrine in it, I always have to tell them, don't give me any epinephrine. And they'll still sneak that shit in. And I don't know if they do it through other words or, like, oh, it's just like epinephrine, but that shit makes my heart start going crazy. My heart starts pounding. I start feeling flushed. It's like, I do not want that shit in me. But I'm wondering if that doesn't slow things down in our healing. Everything they do is always slowing shit down. It's never really helping us. So anyways, we'll see how this one, because this one definitely would have got stitches, 100%. There's a lot of cuts you can go and you think, oh, it's such a big cut. but I saw how deep it was, and that's where they decide when it opens and it's gone past all of the layers of meat tissue stuff, and it's gone into the next part where it looks kind of like black space or something. That's so creepy. But anyways, and then I put a post of it on TikTok, and a woman, because out of my 200 people, she said that she's done that before and it worked fine. So, it's two different people. And then, but I was out there doing all that work, and I was hurt my wrist so much again. Like, whatever I did when I fell, I probably got tendon or ligament tear, or not a tear. I don't think it's a tear. It is a stretch. It's a pull. It's like an overextension. So it like overextends it and it hurts it. And I think it was like it right in here, but this is so swollen. And so it was like, oh my gosh. And all these things I'm saying is like, because you don't have to rush to the doctor for every little thing. You can let your body heal. A break, if you get a break, you won't be able to use it. So that's always a sign. And even if you get a break, unless it's like a dislocated break, I've known people who have let their breaks heal by themselves. The whole thing is to keep it so it can't move, so it keeps the bone in alignment. And it can be a little bit out of alignment. They would let it heal a little bit out of alignment. They're not going to pull someone into surgery and screw it together for every little tiny thing. If it's just a little, the calcium, will regrow around there, and it will have like a, like anything, like where you have a scar on your leg, it's like a different color, a different texture, a little, it's a little different. So, but you can wrap that stuff up and just keep it really stable. If you have to use like in an emergency, I think a lot of things, that's what people need to think about is in an emergency, what people have been able to do for themselves. And, people have goddamn cut their own arms and shit off. So you can do things to take care of yourself. People have given themselves stitches. And if your wound's really, really hugely open, you would have to probably do stitches. Like even when I saw that, I thought, as I'm walking into the house, I was thinking, man, could I give myself stitches? I guess if I had to, I could just do a couple stitches to close it. That would suck. But doing tattoos on myself, when you get really focused on what you're doing, you don't feel it the same. So even if you had to do the stitches on yourself, it wouldn't feel the same. And all this stuff is just to keep in mind. If stuff goes down and there's no way to get to a place, that don't panic. People just panic. They're so reliant on Western medicine. They think Western medicine is going to save them. It's going to make it all go better. People don't trust themselves and believe in themselves. But people used to have to take care of themselves all the time. There wasn't hospitals, and farmers weren't, getting injured and running into hospitals. Like it was, even severe injuries. And like sometimes a doctor would just come to your house. And so it wasn't, but people have gotten so used to, like people get a cold and they're like, oh, I'm going to the ER. So people just have given up on taking care of themselves. So it is that you can like just wrap it. I think you could do like an ace bandage and a board or something and just hold it. And then they have all of those kind of whatever those things are that you put on so you can't move it. So that's another thing. But eyes also where you don't want to do that too much, because then you make it weaker. So people get really reliant on those things, and you need to use your arms some. You need to, you got to find the balance of overusing it. Yesterday, I definitely overused it. It was hurting so much, and it was so swollen last night. So I had my jacked up foot, my jacked up arm. I was like, fuck, I'm glad I got all that done, though. I got so much done. Oh, my gosh. I can't even believe it. But like today, now I can just sit outside and, just do nothing. I can just sit out there and relax. And it seems like it's been so long since I've done that. It's like it's been one thing after another, but at least I got all that mess cleaned up. And oh, yeah, I want to do this little story too, is because I'm sitting here resting, but I always get antsy. And so there was something I wanted to go out and look for, and I had to get on the ladder because I'd already tried on my step stool and I couldn't reach or I couldn't see. So I had to go get my ladder, and it was in the evening. I was like, oh, fuck, there's so many spiders. And I'm sitting here having this whole conversation. Well, could do it in the morning because when it's, they're not all out as much at certain times of the day, but in the evening, there's tons. And and I can't see all the webs, and I've had so many webs, and like, man, I'm just feeling stuff crawling around in my hair. And last night they had the fucking nanobot mosquitoes out. They're so giant. And they're relentless. All of these pests, the flies, the gnats, I guess even in New York, there was a whole bunch of little black things, these little gnat things that are everywhere. There's swarms of these, and they're releasing this shit, I think. I think it's some sort of nanobot bugs or medically enhanced or something. I don't know, but it's the pests. It's all these pesty ones, and which get out of your fucking face and bite. But so when I wanted to go out and look for that thing, I finally decided, okay, just fucking do it. Let's go. So I went out there and had to get the ladder. It had a giant spider right in the middle, a giant web. He's just sitting there loving life like, fuck yeah, man, I'm digging this fucking night. Again, I was like, oh, I'm about to fuck up his world. Oh, and I felt bad. But I was like, fuck, it's got to be done. So I pulled the ladder, and his web got all jacked, and he was like, fuck, what's happening? So he ran over to the side, and he kind of went into a crevice and was kind of hiding up in there. So I kind of was like shaking it and trying to put him on the other ladder because there's next to the big old giant ladder, the 12-foot one or whatever. So I tried to get him to go over on that one, and he was not having it. He was like, hell no, I'm staying right where I'm at. And so he just went up and he got in this little crevice. So I was just told him, okay, well, just stay there then. And then so I was walking, and I stopped a couple times carrying it, and he kept staying up there and kept staying up there. And so I went in and I opened it. I got, climbed up there, got my stuff. And I was telling him, I'll be done in a minute. I'll take you back. And he stayed in there the whole time. And I went and I took him back and put the ladder back. And I'm sure he's out there and rebuilt his web. And I was just like, for one thing, that was a lot for me to get over. I mean, I don't want to be scared of spiders, but that is still a challenge, through the whole thing. Like, it's a constant challenge, because they're creepy as fuck. Like, I gotta keep telling myself they're more scared of me. So they're scared of me way more. I can damage them way more than they can damage me. Like, I mean, what's he gonna do? Come running at me and fly and jump up on my neck and bite me and kill me? Like, I mean, he can't do much. But they're so like fast moving, and they've got all those legs and stuff. And it's so trippy how octopus are like so similar to spiders. I think spiders are super smart, and I do think that they are bringing us, for there to be so many spiders around right now. I can't remember what those, I'll have to look it up, but it has a meaning when you have a bunch of spiders around. And whenever we took that deck off, there was just so many, but there's just started being so many everywhere. And yesterday, I don't think that one ever took its little baby sack thing. So I tried to pick it up and move it over to another place. And it seems like that spider was so colorful. Like this really bright green I hadn't seen before. And this girl was showing this flying bug that she found. And she was trying to see like what it was. And it looked like the colors of a dragonfly, a blue dragonfly. It was really, really pretty. but it looked more wasp-like. And when she looked it up, it said it was a dirt dauber. But dirt daubers were always black or brown, but now I guess apparently there's blue ones. So I don't know what, but this spider was like that kind of really super like dragonfly green. Maybe that's going to be like, there's going to be new colors of bugs or something, or maybe they're messing with that, or maybe it's like, who knows? There's just this stuff keeps going and keeps happening. But there is some kind of spiritual meaning to the spider thing, and I'll have to look it up and see. I can't remember what it is. But it seemed like there was something else I wanted to say, because it was cocaine, which is so ridiculous, but it's just to get people to pay attention and be outraged. The plane thing and all these people, everybody just looks at stuff weird. The whole thing with the movie as a psyop, as a creation for anger and control when people don't even see it coming, and the money all going right back to them. And oh God, it's so oh yeah, Joe made military moves yesterday, and it was something with 3,000 troops. And so who knows if they're going to make a big thing of this, or it's just going to be another thing. It's just going to, because where's the Fed now? Seriously. Because that would be something that would prove he has no control over the military. He's not the commander-in-chief. So, but yesterday was supposed to be, he was making these moves, and he was moving military stuff. And, I don't know about that, because I don't watch the news or something. So I don't know, if that's just more outrage stuff. It's just more a commentary. It's just more nonsense. If it's, if they have control over some of the media now, like the White House could go in and say something like that just to push, because then what's Joe going to say? But it's all like scripted anyways, like, because Joe's going to say what he's supposed to say. And he's supposed to say something that's going to be outrageous and, make him look like a lunatic. So, anyways, that shit is just going to keep going. The money thing, like, it's got to be closing in. Like, it's just got to. Like, but sometimes, things go where it's like, fuck, it's drug on like this long. And, the woman for the house keeps calling me and sending me things. Now she's emailing me, and I think she might have texted me even. And it's like, you're not no, it was the email. Yeah, you're not getting my calls. It's like, I'm not opening the email either, because I bet it will show that opens, and I'm not giving them any power. I'm not giving them any energy, any openness, any open door. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's the whole thing with the homesteading laws that would protect me, because I've been working this land, I've been improving it, I've been taking care of it, and you can't take it away from me. And so that would be my whole thing. But they're so illegal and stuff. So, but I'm just hoping that we're far enough into this with the judicial and stuff that I don't have to do all that. But I don't know. I just got to follow, my heart and see. Hopefully she just keeps calling, because her hands are kind of tied, or they've got so many cases and the courts are too tied up. Like, I don't know. Just got to keep watching and seeing and just playing it out. I can't worry about it or stress out about it, but definitely the universe is giving me all the signs that everything is falling into place, as this is my place, and it is not going to be taken away from me. So anyways, but we're all on our own journeys, and we're all on our own lessons. So it's not even like you could just follow and do exactly what I'm doing and have the same outcome. We all are going to have our own outcomes, whatever our lessons are that we're supposed to learn from. And it's so crazy too, is because of how the incarnations were before. And it is like, we weren't supposed to wake up. We weren't supposed to see the things that we're seeing now. So all of the things that we're seeing now is supposed to be this way. It's the evolution. It is the change. And the show I had been watching, and this is the third one I've seen of this story. And I'm sure Vortex, you got to remember this story, like, because you were down south, and I was like, I lived there when this was going on down in Dallas, and it was when Candy, I think her name was Candy Camacha. I could be mixing up the names, but it was the lady who axe murdered that whole thing. And it was a huge thing. It was so sensationalized. And I don't know if it was all national, but, I mean, I was near. It was in McKinney, and I was in Dallas. And, oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. Because I was thinking, that whole time until just now, I was thinking, I'm picturing, this is like, I don't know, it was my brain injury or what, but I was picturing McKinney as Plano. And I was thinking about how close all that shit is now, but fuck, McKinney was where I was going all the time when I was 16. And I was hanging out with all those race car drivers and those motorcycle guys. And it would always be McKinney, and my dad would get so mad, and I was young, and in Dallas, and back then there was big space between, like, it wasn't just like it started with Dallas and then everything just filled in all the way out. I think it goes past McKinney now, but before it was huge space, like it was like fucking huge space to get from Dallas to Plano. Like, you drove through nothingness. And then Plano to Richardson, and it was a little closer together, but you had a big space of nothingness to drive through. But then once you got past there and you're going on the 75, it was a long ways out to get to McKinney. Oh yeah, I met them because my mom worked at that apartments. And this is back when, I started dating the 26-year-olds. I gotta say this. I maybe already told y'all this. I don't remember. Because it was this conversation with my mom, because my daughter went to go pick my mom up because my mom's fucking going so blind, and she keeps doing the eye shots. And it's like, Mom, this is their new, I know his eye shots making it worse. And I heard a commercial where now they're talking about this, it's so progressive and all this shit. And so many people have it. Motherfuckers, they're doing it. So anyways, she's going to keep going. She trusts them. So, but she can't see. And so she drove up the one road, and my daughter picked her up before she had to get into town. So we were all in the car together, and I don't remember what we were talking about, but something about, what was it? I was talking about something, but it was something about what boyfriend I had when I was 16. And she thought that was like the love of my life or something. I was just like, what? Mother, Jesus Christ, I was 16 years old. That guy was 19. I shouldn't have even been, I started going out with him when I was 15. I shouldn't have even gone out with him. Like, no, I did not even like him. Well, you were engaged to him. Mother, I was 16. Like, who was in control of that relationship? Well, I mean, she had me when she was 16, and she was with a 20-year-old. So, that's why, I can't sit here and think like, well, she should have done better. Like, how could she have known to do better? She couldn't know what she didn't know, and she hadn't learned it yet. So, I mean, obviously it's easy for people to just look past things when people don't want to see themselves. They don't want to see. So anyways, that was a whole strange thing where she thought like that guy was some serious fucking boyfriend. No, I don't even remember. There's only a couple things I remember, the whole thing. One of them was being in his apartment, his fucking friend kicking my friend's ass, and me having to run out there and come to the rescue, and him sitting there telling me that I needed to just stay in the other room and be quiet. Fuck off. Fuck, I don't care. That guy, at least he's going to try and hit two of us at the same time. was like, that's some bullshit, man. Uh, anyways, so when she went to work in those apartments, so when she left my dad, there was a lot of stuff that was going on back then because and it was at 16 when she left my dad that's when I told her what my dad was like. And it's so crazy. Guilt parenting is not something you want to do. Don't guilt parent, okay? Just own your shit. Own your stuff. Call yourself out. Humble yourself. And then just do better. That's all you got to do. Don't start being parenting like through the lens of guilt. It's not a good look. It's not productive. It's not healing. So anyways, when she lived in those apartments, and the maintenance guy, he was from McKinney, and then he lived with the other guy, so it was 2 roommates, and the one guy was the race car driver guy, and the Bobby Talkington, he was I think he was a maintenance guy, but he was 26 years old. And so then I was dating those guys. I was like going and hanging out with all these fucking guys in McKinney. And so I was driving a long ass ways out there. But oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that wasn't a very big town. And that happened then just a couple years later. That was not very long after, because I was there when I was 16 when Candy did the killing. I think it was in 1980, and so it was 1979. Man, that's weird. Like, it's weird how you cross paths. Like, man, if you are like the watchers to watch this thing, like us watching from here, what we see. Like how I said, we see different. Like we see there's energy, but we see a table, and they see different. Like they see like energy, like they see different, like us looking at a game or something. And what it must be like as they watch us all like crossing paths and stuff, because we are all like certain colors. It is like our color or something is our frequency. And then how many times, like that would be so fucking cool to watch, as all of these different colors moving around and coming, and the paths that we cross and stuff like that. So that is weird. I always thought it was weird as how many serial killers that were active in Dallas when I was there. And then when I moved to Southern California, and how many were active there, that always weirded me out. Then I moved to Spokane, active one there. And then, I'm sure that there is here, but there's so many right now. They've got the instigators out there. They got the people out there who are programmed to kill. So, and some of them are, and it's all, create trauma and whatnot. But anyways, that is so weird. I didn't even ever think of that before. But anyways, I've watched 3 of those movies now on her. One of them was the Jennifer Beals one. This one was the Ashley Olsen. And what was the other one was somebody else, but I can't remember. But this one was really good. And I thought it really showed, like, if you were Candy, this is the one I think you'd want out there. Because it was very sympathetic to her. It really showed this kindness to her, this really wanting to please others and just really being sweet, but also, wanting something more out of life, because she had the whole affair with this guy. But I thought, they kind of really, because this is on, what is that, Showtime or Max. This is on Max. And so there would definitely be corporate-owned agenda. And there was definitely a lot of Jesus stuff. Like, the whole Star's got stuff about church. And they did make a thing about that. about the church, so I don't know, you know, there just keeps, if it's a negative influence that they keep putting out or something, because, you know, this is a spiritual awakening, and they do want to control one's spirit through religion and other controlling factors. And so, I don't know, it's just another thing to kind of like look at religion as hypocrisy. But, you know, it's sad because it turns people away from God. You know, the whole thing, religion is, you know, mastermind shit, man, I swear. But, because then, you know, even the people who do turn towards it, they turn towards fear. And then they run down because that guy's going to fucking ban them to hell if they don't run down and say his name and get dipped in the water. So you got to do that, or you're fucked. Doesn't matter how many good things you did in life. And for all the bad things, like, you got to be forgiven. You can't forgive yourself, so you got to have this guy forgive you. So it is so manipulative over one's spiritual growth, spiritual path, spiritual enhancement, spiritual evolution. So it's all controlled through them. And you know, then they just get people to look at it through fear and stuff. I can't believe how they've got these religious people. Even my mom, she said something about, well, all that new age stuff. It's like, oh my God, what is this? You know, it's so crazy, is because when it very first started, like way back when I was reading, like back in 79 and 80, back, no, it wasn't 79, because I wasn't reading that in high school. It was more 80, 81. I can't even remember the first book that really got me going. It seemed like it was the Celestine Prophecy, which was Marianne Williamson. I don't give a shit. In my fucking reality, that's who wrote it. In this one, she's a politician, but there's other things that are not the same in this reality for me. But, and maybe it all changed, you know, when I put myself on the more positive timeline, you know, when I started working on myself and healing. You know, maybe my other was on the other timeline. I don't know. Like, I don't get it. Like, how we all have these different things like that. But so Marianne Williamson wrote it, and it could have been the start of my spiritual books. I remember how much it impacted me. It was a huge impact. That's why the author stood out to me so much. It was a huge impact to me back then. And especially trying to break free from religion. And, you know, back then it was an ordeal, because people wanted to hold you there. It's the only thing they could understand. I mean, I've been in so many arguments with my mom back then about religion, God, you know, who God is. Because they think God is this mean guy who damns people to hell. It's like, I don't know that God. That's a God y'all are freaking worshiping that I don't know about. Well, then I don't know God. Okay. So then, but breaking free from that and saying, yeah, but this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. And that's not a guy I want to worship and all that stuff. You know, it makes sense to all of them, but it didn't make sense to me. So I pulled free from that. But it was a thing. It was a thing, especially when you're a spiritual being. And, but, you know, I had them talking to me the whole time. And so, you know, to me, I was just always like aliens. But it was definitely like, I was very aware it was like angelic. It was like smarter and more advanced spiritually. They were beyond. They were definitely not monsters trying to figure out how to eat us and stuff like what people are scared of. And, I mean, they were beings that were, you know, were slower. They're not loud. They are quiet. They do whisper. They are patient. They do wait for you to listen. They wait for you to learn. They let you make your mistakes. And then they're there to talk to you about them. So, yeah, it's always been advanced beings. It's never been, you know, crazy lunatic beings that are trying to destroy the world. So, but the, what was I going to say? Because I wanted to talk about that candy thing. But anyways, I'll just switch over to that because I can't remember what I was going to say else. Sometimes I don't know. Maybe sometimes I just go blank because I finished all that I needed to say about it. And sometimes I know that I feel like I need to over explain things. And so sometimes I feel like it just drops off. Like, okay, we're done with that. Just move on. It's like, okay. So I can't get caught up in my own ego and think like, wait, did I explain? Because I got to remember, it is all by the receiver. And the receiver is only going to understand what it understands. It only can understand up to its own level. It can't understand beyond what it can understand. And so, and sometimes you're just planting seeds for somebody else to, plow the field, and somebody else to water it, and somebody else to, watch it come through the soil. So, some of the things what I say is, it doesn't have to be overly explained. It clicks, or it doesn't click, or it just goes in to sit and wait until it clicks. So, and things can take a long time to click. Fuck, I've had, especially lately, where something will happen and then it is like the seed will be reminded to me, and it's like, man, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago that I had heard that or seen that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, that just makes so much sense. But it's like your reference material. And so when you have the reference, then something happens and it's just like, wow, that just makes so much sense. But, one of the things though on the movie with Candy and, the whole axe murder thing was, that's a soul thing. Especially in this one when you got to see more about her and this guy's relationship. And, to me, it was like, okay, this is like a soul, like these three souls come and they have this triangle more than once. Like, and if you notice, there's some triangles becoming present in the world where you can see these relationships and these triangles where there's like one person caught between two people and stuff. That is soul stuff. That is stuff that is from life after life. And then you can see, how things can go so bad, like the one lady. And that's why I said so many of these soul traps where the people are like unaware of what they have going. So it's kind of like they're trapped in the trauma. They're trapped in this emotional state that they have no awareness of. It's like they don't know why they're just feel the way they do, because they haven't gotten to the core of who they are, because they're hiding part of themselves. They don't, in this world, they don't want people, the soul, as they don't want that to be your main source of understanding. And so they want it to be, the 3D experience is enhanced. So, but you have, your soul is inside of you, but it depends, like it's apparently so easy to get people to be very focused on the outside of them for everything. But, and maybe it's part of the introverted gift that you do become more, I don't know, cerebral, more reflective, more think about things. So, some people don't, but I've always spent a lot of time, well, even if I said in thought, it's always in communication, because to me, I always have the awareness that it's not thinking like people think. It is communicating. It is, it's like going to a board meeting and talking about things. So I always had that awareness of that, it's just weird because I just thought that's how it was. I thought everybody lived like that. But anyways, so it's important though for people to get into this understanding about past lives so that they can try and get more into the depth of their soul, like why they feel the way they feel and why certain relationships have such a strong hard thing to get over that they just can't figure out. And it is all about that, these connections in our soul and these stories that we keep playing out, that we keep trying to fix something or make something happen or however it is. But people just get into these things where they get mad at each other and kill each other. I really think a lot of people in a lot of family kind of anger, murder kind of stuff is a lot of that. I mean, everything has to do with your soul story, but some souls, are coming in to play other roles so that everybody has these different parts to get to experience, but you have to have somebody, play the bad guy to experience so that you can understand. And it's not to experience like, oh, I want to be murdered or something like that. So but there's more to it. There's more, and then there's a balance. Like once you've put something out, then you have to go in and you have to experience it so that you can have an understanding of it. So there's so much going on. There's just so much in the soul and the spiritual world. But, people don't have any awareness of it. And then they have these situations that get out of hand. And then, people end up, because it's not just the murder. I mean, like, more people's lives are ruined. It's like you take all these people who are just living these lives, and then all of a sudden, in an instant, everything changes. And so it's not just one person loses their life. Everybody loses the life that they had before, the survivors and everything. And then in the soul progression, those experiences it's so crazy how there's always just so much going on, because it is like everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. It's always going to happen that way. And there's always a playing it out. And people would think like, well, then we wouldn't play out the bad stuff. We wouldn't have that happen. But no, that stuff has to happen too. There's so much learning, so much growth. We don't look at the bad stuff like bad stuff because we are alive. We're eternal. We know nothing is really happening. The bad stuff is just an opportunity to experience, to see, to understand, to grow. So there isn't really bad stuff happening. So we don't have the same outlook on it. In the game, the bad stuff is so we can learn and grow and experience and expand. But, we don't look at it the same way. Just like how the watchers, like they can watch me doing stuff and watch me messing up. It's not going to be like, well, they're going to sit there and feel sorry for me. That's not their role. They're not going to sit there and feel sorry for me. They're going to be there when I turn around and go, okay, well, I'm done struggling now. Could you guys help me out a little bit here? And maybe they'll tell me an easier way. Maybe they'll just make everything lighter for me because their energy is also helping. It's a lot of different things. But they're not going to step in and do something until you acknowledge them. And they've got patience galore. They don't look at this stuff as like, oh my God, I got to save them. They're going to die. Oh God, save them. It's not like that. And I think as a soul, if you were down here and you had your guides running in and saving you, it'd be like, well, stop it. Like, I'm trying to learn something here. I'm trying to grow here. Just get back off a little bit. You guys can't sit here and just save me on everything, So that's another thing I think people need to acknowledge is your guides aren't there to save you. They're not there to protect you. They're there to guide you, to talk to you, to give you... they'll tell you stuff ahead. But they're not going to tell you big stuff. They're not going to tell you, things that you need to experience to have the impact. Like, there's different ways that they do things. Like when they would have me say something, and then I knew, sometimes I would know that somebody is going to hear it, that they're going to hear it. And then it is like, like there was a certain thing that I said, this was a long while ago. And I just thought it was kind of funny. I didn't take anything. And then it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, and I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden that popped into my mind, only I heard it through the other person. And they didn't think it was funny. And then that's where you go to your guys like, well, what in the holy hell did you have me do that for? Why did you tell me to say that? And it's like, because they have to hear it that way. It is a trigger. And, we all need our triggers. We all need the things that are going to help us grow. We need to get mad. We need to get upset. We need to feel. We need to connect to ourselves, to understand ourselves, to understand our feelings, to begin to expand, to understand. And see, none of that was supposed to happen before. We had to go through all of the experiences that we were going through so that they would impact us, so that we could grow through them. So it wasn't supposed to, we weren't ever supposed to wake up until now. This is the awakening. This is when it's supposed to be happening. It wasn't like you were supposed to. It's not like a part of the game. Like from the moment you get into the game, you're supposed to awaken somehow. That's not the game. The game is changing. So we're in this like transitory kind of game situation right now. But before, the game was very different. The game was just, you were born and you were born into this situation. And it is like you went into a story. You were just going into these different stories, different storybooks, and you were playing a character. So all of those were how it was supposed to go. And then it changed, because we're at this cosmic cycle. And this cycle is the changing of the in the astrology. It's like changing channels. It is changing, it's not the same as the other one. Like the Piscean, the Aries, all the different ones, like they had their own unique lessons. There was certain things that could be learned through the experiences. Certain experiences could be birthed from those times. And so those were all had their own unique storylines. And so those were all opportunities for learning and growth and whatnot. And so now we're in this transition of this time, because we're headed into this whole new storyline. So we have to go, it's like shed the old to go into the new. But, and that is how we're waking up as souls to our, that we're eternal beings, what we've been doing, how we've been living, what we've been, like, it's a whole thing to learn and see. And it's the whole expansion. That's the evolution, is this what's happening to us through this. And the beautiful thing to me is, no matter what happens on the planet, as long as you know you're eternal, you're eternal. There's nothing that can happen to you. So even if I were to go out of this reality, out of this awareness, of this vibration, that doesn't mean I would be anywhere different. I would just be, like, kind of like what they keep saying is like, people are going to stop being in other people's realities. As a vibration is like, you're pulling free, your vibration is changing. But it isn't like it's like just this vibration separation. It isn't like, it's like, it's hard to explain, and I don't even know if I'm translating it right. But it is kind of like I would still be here doing my same thing, But it would just be the people who were not vibrating with me wouldn't be able to see me. And, and maybe, I died to them. Maybe, they saw something and they saw me die. Or maybe it is that whole rapture kind of thing. It's like, well, they just disappeared. I haven't seen them in so long. Where'd they go? Because even last week, me not being around here, it was like, it's kind of like you disappear. You're just not around anywhere. And then all of a sudden you reappear and there you are again doing things. So I don't know. It's weird, but that is, really what reality is like. And it really is like based on this vibration and stuff. And based on this, right now with this change, but see, when you realize that you are eternal, like, it's like I could keep this going forever if this is what I wanted. Like, I could just, and maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's not going to be like ghosts anymore. That is like the living and the death walking in the same. I wonder, yeah, if it would be like, but why would you go into a darker frequency? Oh yeah, to visit somebody else. But there's going to be such a mass occurrence. There wouldn't really be reasons to go back into it. Like, I don't know, like I don't know how it's going to be, like, the concept of rapture, if it really is going to be, no, they're just another vibration and you can't see them, but they're right there. Huh, that's interesting. Like, I don't know, but, I definitely, and Vortex, she's seen it. I'm sure some of y'all are all seeing, like, there's just starting to be like a little more magic, a little bit more, like, things seem to really be going in this other direction to me. Just like the weird thing with the yarn. I'm having a lot of weird synchronicity things. And just like everything just going together and stuff. Like, everything is just like going together and fitting. And like, it's weird. My mom, we were at the thrift store. And my mom brought me over this little pig thing that had these little coffee cup hanger things. It was these two little pigs, and I have a bunch of pigs. I used to have a pet pig, so people give me little pig trinkets all the time. So I have a lot of little pigs, and I have them on my kitchen. And so she was like, isn't this so cute? And I was like, I've got such a little wall space. It's like, fuck, I don't even know where I would hang that. It's so cute, though. And then, they flashed in my head the coffee cups that I had sitting on the counter and how I had been saying, God, I'd love to have something to hang them up. And then they just brought it to me. So they had to remind me. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So I took it and I was like, yeah, I'll figure something out. And so I took it. And so I think that was yesterday, too. God, there is just, I'm telling you, you just start going into, because I don't know how I watched this whole damn show, too. And got all that done and did all this arranging. Like, I did so much stuff. And I cooked a ton. Like, I'm telling you, there is things, like, you just go in and do the things you like. And time makes the space for you. It's weird. But, so, I had to move some shelves around and move that over there. And now that I have it up there, it's like, oh my gosh, I like it so much better. Like, everything I keep doing, just, my gate, the deck, everything I'm doing. Like, I like the stuff that was there, but everything that keeps being that I change, I like it so much better. Like, it fits so much better. And it is so strange. But there was another thing that I wanted to talk about with this candy trial thing too, because this was back in the 80s. And it reminded me so freaking much of Casey Anthony. And then there's Zimmerman. And I was trying to think, like, do we have some of these going on right now? Like, well, we have a lot where a lot of people are up before Congress. Like, we have some sensationalized shit going down, of course, right now. But I was like, man, how many of these crazy cases have they just made into this like really sensationalized, get everyone's attention on this case. And this was back in 81, I think. And I don't even know what was going on back then. Probably shit with Gaddafi. Shit going on with Gaddafi for so long, and I had no fucking clue. I swear to God, I thought that guy was bad until recently, where I've seen more stuff about it, where he's, the fucking guy was like a saint. And so that's why they want to fucking take him out. They don't want the global eugenic, whatever, I gotta say all the words, because you can't say, there's so many words you're not allowed to say, it will flag you, indefinitely, certain words, like, I feel, will get flagged, and those ones, because that's what those people are. And so, you know, I don't know, and then Charles Manson too, you know, I thought he was a bad guy until it was the Rob Zombie one, Rob Zombie's documentary, that one, and then just knowing all of the other stuff, like it's all the different seeds that are planted, you know, knowing about what the CIA was doing, knowing about Hollywood and CIA, knowing about the spawn rants, knowing about all of that stuff. And then you go in and you see, that's an eye-opener, man. To find out, you know, Gaddafi, the Manson, all those people were not the guys that they made him out to be in the media. That's why it's easy for me to wrap my head around. Trump's not either. But, you know, people have got to start seeing how the media is contorting your view of people on purpose. And the people who are trying to do something good for people are the most contorted of all. Like, they turn them in, they demonize them. They turn them into monsters. The monsters turn the good people into monsters. That's, but that is the upside down. But it's just, I don't know. There's so many strange things, like that girl on the plane, and then the, you know, her saying that stuff. Like, for sure, the guy on the plane was some not human, and plus his weird eye thing. But but her role, like, it's just too coincidental. Like, that you would be, you know, at a shooting, then that happen to have this huge ordeal. Either it was scripted, or she is under mind control and has been for a long time. You know, I don't know. There's so many of these people. There's so many of these people, you know, even the crisis actors, some of them, they probably really do know that they are just hired. Some of them could be hired, and then they see that their clip was used on the news and they thought it was going to be a commercial. And then who are they going to tell? Like, what are they going to do? And then some of them, I think, are just totally under mind control, and they really believe what happened. You know, got to make it real. So, you know, they're hypnotized and told it happened. So they believe it happened. They put the memories into their mind. So that goes on. Like, there's a lot that goes on with this way that they control people and control people's minds. And then right now, how they're doing this mass scale thing through the chemicals and the frequency. I just saw there's this guy, this big creator, and he's in Italy, and he was saying there's nothing in the sky. He said on a Coca-Cola, there's 5 ingredients. There's certain things they're not even allowed to have there because of the toxins. Like aspartame is not legal there, and lunch meat and stuff is bad within 2 days because they don't have all these preservatives and shit in it. So, you know, but it's the artificial, like America, we could have just been called artificial world. And the people who are shallow, People who want to be artificial. Like, there's literally people who want to be artificial. Like, it's so strange. It's so strange to me how there's like so many people who, even as all this spiritual stuff happening, you know, and they just talk like, oh, it's the new age. Oh, that's what it goes back then. That's when we were being called new age. And new age was, to me, it was like where you were putting it in together with aliens aren't monsters. Aliens are just other beings, and they're advanced, and they've been here, and they're involved with us. And, you know, it was like just an understanding and reincarnation and stuff. And that we're all souls together and stuff. So, and that was like the new age. But then, you know, in movies and stuff, they just started making fun of us and making us all a bunch of weirdos and, you know, like ditzy and stuff like that. And then, you know, I don't know what the hell happened, seriously, because people started waking up, and then they started becoming spiritual, but then they started calling it New Age again, because New Age was different than what New Age is now. But it's like New Age is another, you know, negative word. So, and we're going into a new age. Like, it should be about a new age. We're going into a new age. Shouldn't we have changes? Shouldn't things be different? Like, why do people want to be just satisfied and dependent on the old one? Why do they want to keep things the same? Why do they just want to move into a new age that is the same old age? It makes no sense. But, you know, the religious people definitely. I mean, just my mom, even with this, all the new age. Maybe they're saying in the churches. Maybe it's the way they're trying to keep the religious people under their control. I don't know, man. But fuck, these religious people are just so, like, convinced, like, I don't know, when they're saying stuff, it just sounds so wacky to me. Jesus, and there's no way to salvation unless it's through Jesus. It's like, so you're telling all the rest of us that have actually done the work, you know, that we have no salvation? Like, you who've done nothing but sit and ask the Lord, your Savior, to take away your pain and take away your guilt, that is, you're saved. But somebody who's actually done the work to forgive themselves, they're going to hell to burn for eternity. Like, it's strange. And just how much is kind of this dependency of needing this Savior. Like, it is scary to face themselves. Like, they don't want to face themselves. They would rather just somebody come in and say, oh, no, you're okay. Don't worry. You're perfect. They're just the way you are. It's like, but you got to learn how to tell yourself that. It never is going to, like, even in soul world, if you were to just get this Holy Savior to come down and forgive you, you would still be limited. You can't move up in vibration without forgiving yourself. You have to forgive you. Just trying to get Jesus to forgive you is a waste of your time. Like, Jesus doesn't give a shit. Just like the Watchers, just like your guides. They don't give a shit. They're beyond that. They don't have the same feeling. The feelings you have about shit, your judgment and stuff, that's because you're here in this density. And it's a part of the 3D challenge. And so that is what you're doing. But that's not what your guides and shit are doing. Can you imagine there being a God that was like so low vibration that he was so stuck in ego, so stuck that he wanted to destroy his own creation? Like, to me, it's madness. It's like, I don't understand how you guys don't resolve that in your own thinking for yourself. But yeah, they don't have judgment, I'm not judging you. You know, even when you do things, it's very, you know, even when I was 3 and they told me, they let me make the mistake. They didn't stop me from making it. I gave my brother the soapy water and then they talked to me. And it's so funny when I picture that, I see like my family, like my dad, my brother, my mom and grandparent. And then it is like on this patio in these chairs. And then I see me standing right here and looking up at the sky. And I don't know if that really was, but I know I was focused on what they were telling me. I was very much not focused on what was going on here. I was focused on listening to them. And that has always been an ability of mine, is people can be talking to me. I can be in a room. There can be all sorts of conversations going on, and I'm still got conversations going on in my head. And so there's conversations going on here and there and everywhere. So, you know, to me, there is a lot, but there was definitely not judgment. It was more of helping me to see. So that is what, you know, your guides are more there to just, is allowing you, helping you to see. You got to remember, you are the same as them. You are like them. It is like, you know, tag team. I'm going in, and then they are going to guide you and direct you from like the visuals and stuff that I see is like this being down in the ocean in a spacesuit, and them being like up in the submarine and talking to you through this earpiece, and you're down in there, you know, experiencing, and they're talking to you through the earpiece. That is how I see like your guides, and they're not there to they're just there to help you, to give you guidance, you know, isn't to make you never make a mistake, or the mistakes have to be made. Things have to happen. That is the growth. Those are your challenges. Those are you, that is you defining yourself. That is you becoming you. So you have to go through the obstacles. You have to go through the things, because that is how you see who you are. Is what do you do when all things go down? Who do you become? And even if you become a total asshole, a total just I don't know why this word. I don't even know what it is. Crete, Crete. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Even if you were to become just you know, a monster or something, that you are that is for you to get to witness. That's for you to get to see. And if you don't like what you see, that's for your opportunity to change it. It isn't anything to feel shame about. And you got to remember, you know, you've been through other challenges, other lives, other things that you've been through. So don't be hard on yourself because you overreact or you have weird reactions that you don't understand. This is you. I'm getting so many messages. This is you developing into you. This is you seeing you so you can become you. And you have to see who you are at your core in order to see. You have to go through challenges. And you have to go through all of different problems and scenarios, because then, you know, you get more view of like what you would do in this, how you would behave in that, you know. Just me cutting my foot open yesterday and being able to control, like, to me, it was almost like controlling my heart to keep myself calm and not, you know, freak out, because it was like fucking laid open looking. And I was having to walk on it. And I was like, all the things, any of the things I could have started, oh, she moves, you know, I can try and turn it. When the sun comes in that one spot, all of the things, you know, you could start focusing on it. Like, oh, the blood, oh my God, I'm bleeding. And, you know, and that you'll start building up that. You start building up like, oh my God, it's so open. Oh my God. You'll start building up that. It's anything that you go and put your energy towards. And so I had to pull it back in because I knew I wasn't going to go get stitches. I knew I was going to take care of it myself. And, it's like, I just wanted to go in this other direction. So I had to, control my attitude, keep myself calm through the whole thing and not let myself panic or freak out. And that is where people have got to realize that you freak yourself out. People panic themselves. It's all you who does it. The stuff doesn't happen by itself. But everything here right now is so you can, this is annoying. See, so you can see, and that motherfucking sun, it's just there to cook your eyeballs out too. It's not even normal. It's not even real. I don't know what the hell. I bet it does make your skin darker, I think, as I had wondered about that before. But it's just so bright. Like, and it's different. Like when you were a kid and you could look up at this sun, it would burn your eyes, but it was different. It was like a warmth. This is like a weapon. This is like it's weird. But anyways, this is going to drive me crazy. So, and I should go just see what the messages are anyways. But, I just thought it was strange how these huge sensationalized crimes, because that one was big, like the same, when it was showing footage, like how Casey Anthony's was, and all those people at the courthouse, everybody line up, everybody just wanted to get in there. And all those people picketing all out front like a giant thing. Like, it was the same thing at Candy's. It was all those people out there. And I didn't even remember the outcome. But I just remember the whole emotional thing through it. And how, it seemed so absurd. Like, how could this woman just axe this woman to death? Because she said, shh. And there was so much more. But this one with Ashley Olsen, it really shows way more. And it made so much more sense. And it just is all the time. When you see these things, it's like you can go back and remember your own judgment and how you looked at it and how you saw it and how we were being directed how to look at things all the time. All the time. And so much manipulation. And another thing it shows in that movie, it definitely the judgment and the biases. Even the judge, it just shows how biased he is. And, our judicial is not there for us. Our judicial it's all bullshit. I mean, I've always thought it was the most absurd thing. Like, you're going to tell people to go to court, and then you're going to have them put their hand on the Bible and swear. That's all you got to do. I swear on the Holy Bible I'm telling the truth. Have you never met a liar? Like, what in the holy hell is ridiculous? And I saw evidence of that when I went to my own court case, where person after person, nurse after nurse, you want to go out and trust these people? Nurse after nurse got on the stand, put their hand on that Bible and swore, and got on that stand and lied through their fucking teeth. And those are people you want to trust with your fucking health. So, why do people lie? Why? Why? You're covering something up. You're hiding something. There should be no reason to lie. Should never be a reason to lie. Should always be able to be the truth. Tell your truth. And, and if there's things that you're ashamed of, it's for you to recognize. It's for you to notice. It's for you to make changes. It's all up to you. You're designing your life as we speak. So, anyways, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I will just, to me, everything is just always just look deeper into things. Just let your mind go wild. Let it go to places unknown, and, think about things you haven't thought about before. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.